Quit checking.
Mr. Lau.
Present.
Mr. Choate. Mr. Griffin.
Present.
Mr. Tillman.
Here.
Dr. Matusek.
Here.
Okay, and welcome all of our visitors this evening. We've got several. Hopefully you're here for all the good things we're going to do tonight. Item 1.3, discussion and possible board action regarding the resignation of Cristopher Choate as board member of Hennessey Public Schools for the remainder of his term.
So it doesn't necessarily require board action, just board acknowledgement that he has submitted his letter, which all of you have a copy of. And just wanted to remind everybody that Chris was in the second half of his term. And so he would come up next year, a year from today, this election cycle. So that person, whoever is appointed, will have until that time, and then that person can rerun in the regular election or not. We have 60 calendar days to appoint somebody, so that would be March 10th, which we have 2 regular scheduled board meetings in between them. So, any other questions on that?
I'm sorry, you said what, 90 days?
60 days to
60
March
days.
10th.
60 days.
So, it'll be March 10th is the deadline, so we have the February 14th or the March 7th regular scheduled board meetings. So we can appoint somebody, or if can't come up with that, then you can call for an election.
Okay. Item number 2, public comments. There were no speakers signed up. Does anyone want to have any comments to make this evening? No? Anyone contact you? Nobody's contacted me. Item number 3, presentation by Angel Johnson, Blessing Game PC, of the current audit report for 2021-2022 fiscal year.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time this evening. I'll keep it brief so that y'all can move on to other things. But for those of you who don't remember, I was with you last year. My name's Evan Blassingame. I was one of the lead auditors here on the engagement for your June 30, 2022 audit. I always like to remind you guys what my responsibility is as your auditor. There's always all kinds of audits that are out there, and when you hear that word, people get all kinds of ideas. My job as your auditor here is to really give you an opinion on your financial statements. I look at your financial statements, and we do a lot of tests and work on that to determine if they're fairly stated. That if somebody from the general public were to look at the financial statements that are in our audit report, if they would have a good idea of the financial position here at Hennessey or not. And I give an opinion whether those can be relied upon in a reasonable manner. We've given you another good opinion. We didn't find any huge misstatements in your financial statements. I feel like if anybody were to look at those that we issued there, that they have a really good idea of the financial position that your district is in. And so that's really good news. Financial statements look good. That little packet that I handed you there that's stapled, if you go over about 2 or 3 pages, there's some financial information to look at, just comparing year to year. You guys are on top of it a lot, and so a lot of these things you're already aware of, I'm sure, of these variances and the causes for it, but just want to go over them with you a little bit. If you're looking at the general fund, looking at your revenues, county sources, or your local sources, I'm sorry, we're down a little bit in 22 compared to 21, and a lot of that was just ad valorem. We had some protests in your district on some property taxes, and so we're under collected a little bit in 22. And then your county sources were down a little bit. Again, that goes back to some county 4 mil that's levied. State sources were way up in your district. A lot of that had to do with gross production tax. We've seen that statewide. Anybody that gets a lot of gross production tax, your gross production tax was up about $1.7 million in your district in 22 as compared to 21. And then state aid was up a little bit, about $200,000. And then federal sources, this is another one that we've seen at all the school districts that we've been to. We still have that COVID money that you all are receiving. And so a lot of that was your COVID money as the increase there in your federal sources of the $622,000, your ESSER money. With that increase in some of those funds, you did spend some of that money this last year. Your expenditures were up in the general fund about $1.1 million. Upgraded some camera systems, floor replacement, some HVAC systems in your high school and middle school gym. And then some of your largest expenditures were resurfacing your track that was $500,000, and then some outdoor classroom turf. And so a lot of good upgrades to your district and the facilities here this last year. And then building fund, revenues down a little bit. Ad valorem taxes there is what causes that. Expenditures down a little bit. There wasn't anything that really jumped out there, just a few fewer repairs and maintenance in the building fund this last year. That was up quite a bit in the general fund, so moved some of those and used them general fund monies to do some of those upgrades instead of the building fund money this year. And then child nutrition, we've seen this again statewide, really in all the schools we've seen, your revenues are up. Again, COVID allowed all the students to eat free, and we've seen that a lot of students and families took advantage of that. And so a lot of districts, their meal reimbursement rates from the federal government was up quite a bit, and it's no different here in your district. And then expenditures, really not much change there in your child nutrition expenditures from year to year. There are always a few things, if you flip over to the next page, there are a few things sometimes that we feel that we need to bring to your attention after coming out here. And so I'd like to present some of those to you today. The first one there has to do with the superintendent's contract. We always select contracts to look at and test. We noted that the superintendent was paid a stipend of $2,000, but on his contract it only reported a $1,000 stipend. So there was a discrepancy there in that. And the big deal with that is that those contracts for Mr. Sternberger has to be filed with the State Department of Education. And there's a state statute there that says he can't be paid any more than what's on that contract. And so a typo or a miscommunication on that is of oversight on that contract. And so I just wanted to make sure that anytime there's anything paid to the superintendent, that whatever contract's on file with the State Department, that he's paid exactly what's matching what they have. Another payroll item here, just looking at some contracts, we noticed that there was one employee that got paid that did not have a signed or approved contract. State statute there says that there shouldn't be any expenditure involving an amount greater than $500 that shouldn't have approval by the Board of Education. And so we couldn't find a signed or approved contract on this individual here. So just again, anytime you're paying an employee, just make sure that there's a signed contract and approved contract there on file. And then the last one here, an activity fund. We test a lot of purchase orders there, and there's quite a few, 13 of the 46 that we noted there, that the purchase orders were dated after the invoice. We want to make sure that those purchasing procedures are being followed, and that there's approval prior to any goods or services being ordered there. And there were several instances there where the invoice actually was dated prior to any approval. So just want to make sure that nobody's out there authorizing funds to be spent or purchasing things prior to any approval here at the district, so that you're not obligated to pay something that you weren't anticipating. But other than that, everything else looked pretty good. Like I said, your financial statements looked reasonable, and I feel like anybody could get a good idea of your position out here. Are there any questions that I can answer for any of you while I'm here? Very well. Well, there's a form that you'll need to sign and get sent back into the State Department that shows that you have done your annual audit and completed it for another year. But my office is always open. If there's anything that pops up throughout the year and anything that I can do to help you or answer questions for you, I'd be happy to do so. If there's nothing else, I'm going to get on the road, because there's some kind of game maybe tonight that I want to watch. I don't know. We'll see. Y'all enjoy.
Thank you.
Glad to see you.
Okay, moving on, consent agenda. Anybody like to remove anything from the consent agenda for individual discussion?
Me? I had none.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Item number 5, regular business. 5.1, discussion and possible board action regarding plans to improve the drainage and prepare a ditch on the east side of the campus for future parking.
So Jeff Brueggemann is with us this evening. Those were the 2 attachments that I sent late, but it's also up here on the board.
If y'all can see.
And there's a hard copy here, so anybody'd like to.
We were asked about, it's been about 3 or 4 years when we did these other improvements. Well, we were asked also to look at the parking here to, we were looking to see if there was a better way to circulate the traffic, which we really didn't come up with a better way. Also fill in this ditch, I think most for looks, and put everything underground in storm sewer. And in addition to that, I think we were also wanted to make sure the bus traffic could get through unhindered. So this is kind of what we came up with. This is, let's see, this is Iowa Avenue. This is Mitchell. And over here, I think it's Oklahoma Street. And this way's north. So we have along Mitchell, there's probably 35, 40 acres that drain down Mitchell here. It drains down and then goes through a box culvert down here. And this was the ditch we were wanting to fill in. So basically, we kind of looked at this culvert down here at Oklahoma and Mitchell. It drains quite a few acres, probably 60 acres or something like that. So what we thought might be a better idea and would also kind of save money on the storm sewer is if we connect it to this culvert that goes under Iowa. How do I know? Is that in March?
Well, it's, oh yeah, I was gonna stay here.
Ah, sorry. Come on back. Okay. And I can't, I'll try not to touch that.
Yeah, don't touch, you not touch.
We looked at, and this is what we did our cost estimate on, was putting in a 49-inch by 33-inch arch pipe that would connect here at Iowa, come down. There's a sewer that we couldn't cross over here, so we couldn't cross it on this side. So we're going to run it down to here, then cross over to the east side of Mitchell, and then look at an open channel flow on that side. And then we'll, I didn't touch it, I promise. Then we'll fill in this ditch here, but we have to pick up some individual storm pipes. There's pipes that come from back behind on the west side of the schools that come through and dump in this ditch too. So we'll have some piping here. We'll just cross the road with it and dump it into this open channel here. Then and that's mostly the drainage work. And
When you say open channel, would you explain?
on the east side, right now we'll set it up so that if that's going to be fairly expensive to put a storm sewer in that at this point. So kind of what we're recommending is kind of an open channel on the east side.
What's an open channel, a ditch?
Oh, yeah, just a ditch.
So we're moving a ditch from one side of the road to the other?
That's correct. Yeah.
And there's no way of moving it into a culvert, a
Well,
pipe of some kind, so it's covered?
we
I mean,
could.
that's the purpose of this entire project, is to do away with ditches and to have parking on both sides of Mitchell Road.
Oh, on both sides?
Yeah, that's the reason why this project.
Okay, I didn't know it's both sides.
Yeah,
So.
well, yep.
Yeah, we could, well, then we could just extend this pipe on. We'll have a little higher cost estimate than what I have here, so.
Yeah, we definitely.
What I was
The
thinking.
consideration of another ditch on the east side is that's not to be even considered.
Well, we could keep that pipe. We could run it all the way through here on the west side. What I like about at least shifting some of the drainage over to the east is because that culvert down there at Mitchell and Oklahoma, it's got more runoff going through it than what it can really handle.
Was there not an issue with something that is below the ditch?
Isn't there a
6-inch water line on the west
6-inch
side.
water line that's below the ditch, and if
Yeah.
ever the city needed to get into that, they would be going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that happens quite a bit, because they all have to they cross under ditches all the time, so. Okay, so then we have an option we could keep all this on the same side. Forget about this over here. The other thing I liked about this is there's some drainage issues around the track, I believe, and around some parking here. And if we had this ditch over here deepened or had a storm sewer in it, we could probably improve some of that drainage over there, so.
Yeah, because if we had an open ditch on the football side, any kind of overflow, that'd just go right out into your football area and your track around the football area. Because that's not,
These
it
will,
doesn't rise.
yeah, and these all, even though they're covered up and we have there's kind of a swell there, we have to take the water off the street and be able to handle it into inlets, no matter which side we go on.
Yeah, and that was the question I had. The water that comes from just on the east side of the school across the parking lot, how does it enter
Yeah.
into, you have
Some of it's
drains?
Yeah, some of it's piped, and where you see, we'll have junction
Okay, that's what
box
those are.
where we pick up the pipes. And then the surface flow, we'll have a swell coming off of Mitchell, a slight swell. So the water will drain that, then drain along the street to the inlet. So kind of like we did over here on Oklahoma Street. So.
Oh, yeah.
And then what we looked at here, I think for the elementary school, I think the buses come in this way. I mean, the parents and all come in this way and pick up or drop the kids off here. We've already got a barrier here. We're adding some bollards there, kind of removable bollards, kind of block that off so that they circulate this way.
So with that, it kind of looks like that would increase our parking in front of the elementary and middle school, wouldn't it?
Yeah, what we're doing is...
I mean, on the existing parking that we have, it would add a few spots.
Yeah, we're not doing anything to this parking other than taking this drive out. And we're taking this center drive out too. I think you have 33 existing spaces here. With this layout here, you'll have 99 after that. So basically, and it's all one-way traffic. The buses can come in this way, pick up the kids or drop them off. And this is wide enough to be two-way. If a bus is parked for a while, somebody can still go around it. So you've got about 20, 21 feet there.
But your plans don't show covering that ditch down further towards Oklahoma by the high school and the science building?
So that's still an open ditch on the east
Yeah,
side?
but we'll change that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it's aesthetics, but part of it also is practicality of the parking.
Yeah, and I didn't realize there was parking on both sides. So.
Well, on the east side of Mitchell Road, it's just gravel right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is, yeah.
someday maybe we'll pave it and stripe it.
Well,
but,
and what I was...
But it still needs to be street level.
Well, and what I was thinking too, if, our cost estimates, around 600,000. So I was thinking if you kind of wanted to phase it, we could get it over here, have an open channel for a while, and then, if you wanted to phase it and fill it in later and pipe it, then we could, so. But if not,
I think we're moving one problem from the east side of the road to the west side of the
let's
road.
do it all at once.
So that's the purpose of doing this.
That's like, Jeff, I thought when we come across on the east side, I thought that was gonna be underneath,
No,
just so we wouldn't be on top of the water.
Oh, yeah, plus the sewer, we can't,
You gotta go past the sewer before you.
So where does it
Yeah.
come on the east side of the road?
do what?
Where will it come on the east side of the Mitchell?
We have it crossing over, I think, what is, here's the elementary school.
Yeah, and that's the gym.
Right. Yeah, so it's coming across right here.
It's
I think this
kind of about,
middle school, kind of between middle school and elementary school.
about the north third of the football field.
I'm sorry.
So what's the sewer that there's a sewer on the east side that we can't cross, right?
Yes.
And that's coming from our or,
Yeah, the
Field house?
sanitary sewer here, I think it serves what, wrestling or?
Would it be the concession?
Concession.
Concessions, yeah,
Locker rooms here?
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a manhole right over here. So we're going just past that. and I'm-
It's on the northwest corner of the football field.
Does this project involve replacing the sidewalks in front of the middle school and elementary?
No, but we can add that.
It needs to.
That was just the middle school and the,
I didn't realize it was gonna be this
Yeah,
way.
it'd be the length of basically this.
I just thought you were just.
okay, this one right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would have the middle school and elementary.
Here's how it
yeah.
is right now. I just thought we were adding those. I didn't know
That's
we
a
were adding
pretty,
another drive.
Yeah, it's a pretty deep, I mean, when you go look at it, it's pretty deep. And they may be moving like this and like this and this are perpendicular, and by angling what they may be moving this forward.
I think the value of this, especially when the elementary school has their functions and there's people parked way over the baseball field, across the street, it just gets all that parking. But moving from 33 to 99, that's a substantial amount of parking, even if we do nothing else the rest of the way.
Yeah, and we'll leave this, the far south parking lot it is.
Yeah.
And then everything's one-way track from north to south.
So to enter these
You-
parking spaces, you come
Yeah.
in and then, okay, and they're curbed, so they're not drive-through.
So this, I guess this would be a curb, this would be Mitchell Road right here, right?
Yeah, and then we'll have.
And you'll have a curb
parking
or,
parking bumpers there.
oh, parking bumpers?
Yeah.
Well, if that all fits.
Yeah, I thought it's better than having people back up onto Mitchell, so.
Yeah. But yeah, on
Yeah.
on the east side of Mitchell, an open drainage ditch there won't work for us.
Okay. Well, that's kind of my idea. When we left, I was kind of thinking money-wise, if you could kind of phase it in. you know.
And I misunderstood you, because when you were jumping across, I thought it was just to stay off the water, and we would go underneath again, so that's no problem. We can go back to the drawing board and figure
Yeah,
out to where.
no problem.
Yeah.
There's also electric lights somewhere in here.
In some of those islands you see, it's kind of these areas here, or where there's power poles or fire hydrants. We tried to, we stuck an island in if there wasn't a good place to relocate it, so.
There need to be some islands for lighting and whatnot, if at all possible.
Yeah, I have no lighting on this.
Okay.
Now that we know we're staying on the west side, then we can, little things like that, we can add to it when it goes back and have that budget rest.
Yeah,
The other thing that we've done to resolve some of the lighting issues is also lights on the buildings too, to shine out
And shine
across the parking lot. So it's not necessarily that we need to bring
Yeah, these-
electricity through. Right,
Yeah,
right. So just bear that in mind as well.
Okay.
We can use the building to,
Well, we'd lose some of those trees, so you'd be able to put some up. For sure.
what's that?
You'd lose some of those trees, so you can
Right.
put lights on the building, for
There
sure.
is a
Right.
infilling of that ditch there.
And then
Yeah.
that'll be filled in, yeah.
yeah, we'll fill this in. This will, where it's kind of green, this
Yeah.
is all filled in, and this is all filled in. I know Mike would hate it, any kind of maintenance with lawn.
How many parking spots does this?
99.
99, and what is it now?
33.
33?
Yeah, what it is there's 33 here, right? Excuse me. If you see this kind of out of place lines here, that's existing parking, the outline of what we're tearing out.
Straight in,
This
those,
is the entrance.
Yeah, so 33 right in here, and then
but.
once we add this, it'll be 99.
And I think having the angle parking is a lot better.
Is that can opener type parking, or is that space to open your door parking?
No, it's, you can go
Can
down.
we get our doolies in there?
Yeah, it's, it's 9 feet wide. You can go down to 8.5, and some people do 10, but you lose a lot of space.
We have more pickups than compacts.
I know there's a lot of trucks around here.
And then there'll be special consideration given to the bus lane and everything.
Yeah, what we plan on is the buses, their circulation would be coming in here,
Okay.
do their pickups, and then coming back out at the opposite side. So it's kind of like they do right now. And this is going to be blocked off right here. So anybody picking up in here will be going out onto Iowa Avenue.
Yeah, we can replace that entire sidewalk,
Got it, yeah.
which in turn tie it in with the new driveway, maybe get a little closer to the building, give them,
And this cost estimate was, it's kind of based on going out for bids, and I think it's on the high side. There's a lot of stuff we still have to work
that
out.
includes all estimated dirt work as well,
Yeah,
all labor.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of did it like a bid, you know, I was going to get with David.
Yeah.
But he's sick, so.
But it needs to be refigured for what we said. Okay,
Yeah.
So what,
Yeah,
So it'll go up from there.
so we'll make up changes now that we've seen it and come back.
and then have a proposal for us?
Yep.
Excellent.
And that's a deal on budget-wise, some of this, that is existing, repair, replace, we'd be able to pay for out of general. At the new parking lot, we have to take out a building that's new, so, but we'd be able to split it up where it wouldn't deplete our building fund, which the building fund right now is sitting around a little over $800, so it wouldn't deplete all of that.
What was this
Couldn't use
cost
any
estimate?
COVID money?
Did
A
you
little over 630,
Yeah.
Okay.
and he said he estimated that on the high side, so.
I think if we do it like we were talking about, it'd be less.
Couldn't use any COVID money.
No, we try. Well, Jeff, thank you very much. You guys,
Thank
if
you.
something else comes up that you guys think of, you know, holler at me and I can be in touch with him and make any changes.
I think we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Just gotta-
Good start.
yeah, good start.
Thank you very much for coming
I wish I
down.
wouldn't have brought that up. Otherwise it'd been perfect.
No, Jeff, I'm sorry.
No, you didn't do that. That was fine, yeah. I thought that up, while I was working this morning.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Do that. Any more discussion on that, guys? before we move on? So, moving on, 5.2, discussion and possible board action to approve the 2023-2024 school calendar.
So put together a small committee, representatives from each building. This is our draft. Sent that out to staff. Only one other suggestion came back, and that was to end the first semester a little bit later, like midweek, which would be like the 20th or 21st, and not come back until January 8th. But I didn't even put that back up to a vote because we have so many high school, middle school activities that are beginning January 2nd, that technically those kids, those sponsors, parents of those kids who teach it, they would lose out on a week. And so it really pushes a bigger problem to the majority. So very identical to the calendar we had this year, so that's what I would recommend to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Dr. Matus.
Yes.
Item 5.3, discussion of esports program with high school principal Josh Funk.
So this is something that's becoming increasingly popular in the world, just in general, I guess, but especially with high schools. OSSAA partnered with Play Versus, a company that they use to kind of facilitate their competitions and stuff like that. And I've actually got a call set up with a guy Wednesday to get more information and get a quote of exactly what it would cost us, since we're just going to be playing one season instead of doing fall and spring, which we obviously will do next year. We just got kind of a late start, but it's something Mr. Sternberger and I have talked about since sometime last spring, I want to say. And so there are there are a selection of games, and there are different leagues. We're going to join another one called Oklahoma Scholastic Esports, which I'll get to here in a second. But each league has a set of games. We got together and kind of decided. OSSAA already had kind of weeded out those that were maybe rated too mature, like teen and above or something. Games with gun violence, things like that. So OSSAA has already weeded all those out. So we're doing Madden NFL, NBA 2K, Rocket League, and Super Smash Brothers, which if you guys want to know any more about what they are, I'll tell you. I won't waste your time with that right now.
Have you tested each of these yourself?
I've played all of these games before. I played Madden. I pretty much played Madden and 2K my entire life. So the other ones not so much. I have played them, but anyways. So with that, because those are kind of the ones we're doing through OSSAA, I looked at this Oklahoma Scholastic Esports, and they've got a much wider selection of games, but we stuck with those 4 with them as well. The only issue is that for like state competitions and things like that, the Madden NFL and the NBA 2K are already done. So what we're going to have to do to kind of start being competitive in those is just, I'm going to have to work with other schools to set up tournaments and things like that directly with them rather than in the state OSSAA league, because those are done. But like I said, we'll be kind of practicing, getting ready so that in the future, when we are signed up and have all the equipment, we have all the equipment now and all that stuff. So when we do get signed up next fall, we'll be able to compete in those too. So, do you guys have any?
How many student athletes make up a team?
So it depends on the game. So you do have a roster, you have starters, you have, I guess you could call them JV players, because really pretty much anybody can compete. You just obviously want to pick your top however many, depending on the game, to try to make it to those state competitions and stuff. So for Madden, NFL, and NBA 2K, it's a 1v1. It's me playing you, and that's it. For Super Smash Brothers, depending on the season, Super Smash Brothers 3 players at a time versus 3 players from another school at a time. And then Rocket League in the fall is 3 versus 3, and in the spring is 2 versus 2. And Rocket League is, you're basically driving cars and playing sports, like hitting the ball with a car. You should just look it up whenever you leave. But other questions?
NBA 2K, do you play with 5?
No.
Player on each.
So no, it's still just 1 versus
That's just
1.
the one.
And I guess I should have said that. I meant to with Madden. So both of those are just 1 versus 1. At least as of right now. That could be subject to change, because I know that some of the big 2K stuff, it is you take control of one player and you have 5 people just like you would on Stars.
Do we have any additional technology expense that we have to invest in?
We already did a little bit of investing. I can't remember offhand how much.
$7,500.
Yeah, it was like $7,500. I purchased the consoles, the monitors, and the TV.
Who will be the coaches?
Well, right now it's me. We'll see in the future who we can find to maybe take that torch from me.
Like with, I'm barely familiar with NBA 2K, they go to a hotel or an arena or something and they have the big competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Will we be competing remotely, or do you go to
You're going to do both.
where they're everybody?
That's a really good question. You're going to do both. So most of the competing leading up to those big state competitions is going to be remote, but there are tournaments and stuff that you can go to in person where they have big setups like that. But the biggest events especially through OSSAA, the biggest event is that state tournament, and I want to say it was at UCO this year. And so that's kind of when they get that real big esports thing that you kind of see if you look up esports online. But to start though, especially, we're just going to be competing remotely, and I've got a good group of kids so far. I want to say there's about 10 or 12 that want to play each game. Some of them are the same kids. Some of them are, like, I think all the kids that play Super Smash Brothers, I don't think any of them play anything else. That's all they play, but then the rest of the kids kind of will play both here and there and stuff like that, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead first.
How many of our colleges are offering scholarships now for each?
So there are a lot of colleges offering. To give you a number, I'd make a liar out of myself.
Most of our state schools?
Yes.
So
Yes.
LSU's, OU's?
Yes, they're offering.
Regionals, yeah.
Well, and like Northwestern, I know offers one now, and Southwestern offers one now. So, and UCO, I mean, pretty much any university our kids are gonna go to will offer those scholarships.
When are the seasons? You said there's 2 in a school year.
Yeah, there's fall, which, again, it all depends on which game you play, but, they basically start, end of August, start of September, go through, and I think state would have been in December, I believe. And then spring is similar. I mean, it's, you know, you're not doing something every week, I guess, during the entire season, but you're competing about 3 months at I guess, for.
So this would be an extracurricular thing?
It would,
that
and
kids
right
would have to
now,
sign up for?
the kids are, kids have to sign up for it, and I was very, I got kids interested, talked to them about 18 other times to make sure they understood that we're not just coming together to play video games, that if they're gonna do this, they actually are gonna have to be in competition. That way, you know, when I first started, there was probably, I wanna say 50 kids interested, and I didn't wanna go buy equipment for all these kids when I didn't know who was gonna take it seriously and wanna actually compete and not just play video games. So I narrowed that down. I wanna say there's like 20, I think 28, and that's even gone down a little bit because we've met up, and before Christmas break, I met with each group. I guess kind of. I met with Super Smash Brothers and I met with Madden, and they're basically the two different groups. And some of them realized that it was, I guess, a little more serious than what they thought it was going to be, so they have backed out even. So it may be more like 24
When
or
are
5.
competitions, are they weekends only, or are they weekdays?
So it kind of depends on the coach a little bit, but mostly weekends. If you're worried, because this I know was a lot of worry with some people, it will not conflict with their other activities. If you've got football boys that want to play Madden, we're not going to schedule something when they've got something going on. And that comes down to, I think, the esports sponsor just working with the extracurricular staff members, those that are working with those guys, and making sure that we don't schedule something on top of the other stuff. So.
I've heard that before. Not from you, I just.
Yeah.
There's always conflicts.
Oh, yeah, we'll have something, but I should say do our best not to have conflicts.
There you
I have a quick question.
Yes,
So, say for example, the games that are one-on-one games,
yeah.
can there be like 4 or 5 doing
There-
one-on-one at the same time, or is it just only one kid gets to do that?
No, there's 4 or 5 would be able to compete. And we actually, we have enough systems that 6 kids could compete at a time.
So it can be simultaneously?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then of course, I want to say even whenever you go and you travel, you have to take your own consoles and equipment and stuff with you. Not all of it, but you have to take some of it with you. Maybe not to the
Is
state.
it console specific?
No, there's PC gaming, but it's just a lot more expensive.
But which ones do you use? Which
We are
consoles?
using Xboxes right now, and Nintendo Switches, because Super Smash Brothers is not, it's solely a Nintendo game. So we're starting there, and if we've,
So
gotta
in Madden,
gotta add later.
or NBA 2K, you just mentioned that was Super Smash Bros. Can you only compete PS4 against PS4 or Xbox against Xbox?
So it's gonna depend a little bit. A lot of games are starting to get to the point where Xbox could compete against PlayStation and things like that. But I would say the answer to that is more than likely yes. It's just going to be more difficult to do.
But OSSA has it opened up to full
Yeah.
usage.
Well, so OSSAA primarily does PlayStations, and the reason we went Xbox first is because the league we can compete in first is OKSE, at least in the things that I don't want to say matter, but like Madden and 2K, we cannot compete in the fall through OSS, or through, in the spring through OSSA anyways. So we're getting started with the league. We can
So
compete
what's the
in some of those.
Xbox cost nowadays?
The ones I got were on sale for Christmas. I'm pretty sure I stole some kids' Christmas, but they were $275 a piece. Not horrible.
There's an Xbox X series, and it's $499.
It
That's
is.
the newest one.
I did not get those.
Good luck getting the PlayStation 5.
There you go.
Sign up for it, guys.
Yeah.
Waiting list.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to believe, but I used to ban my kids from
There's no
playing
future in it?
video games, there's no future in that. Evidently there is. Thank you. Any more questions for Mr. Parker?
Josh, I'll be your assistant.
There you go.
Okay, moving on, item 7, superintendent's reports.
Just update on the classroom, the water leak damage.
Excuse me.
New
Item
business.
6, new business.
No new business.
No new business. Item 7, superintendent's reports.
Update on the FFA water leak. The damage looks like it's gonna come in around $50,000 total, $20,000 for the restoration company, about another 20 for J&S contracting, which they've done the ceiling grid already. Everything's sheet rock, ready to be painted, floors are ready to be painted and put epoxy on. We got some technology we got to identify on what all was, probably 4 or 5 laptops maybe, some speakers. We have to switch this down, trying to find a switch, that way they can get internet out there. So it looks like it's going to come in right around that 50,000, and our deductible was 5K.
Have we already taken delivery of that pickup?
No, this is the water leak.
I know. I'm wondering about the pickup. Not even water.
Make them had to be ordered.
The FFA closed, so actually the pickup did not have to be ordered. They got one
Yeah,
in.
they had one.
He found, the guy called him, happened to be down there and traded it in, and tomorrow I'm gonna take a check down and trade the old pickup in. So it has all the specs of what we went through with you guys, and but a darker gray. So anyway, that's it on the water damage and the FFA pickup.
Thank you. Any questions? Item number 8, personnel. Proposed executive session to discuss replacement of Christopher Choate on the Hennessey Public School Board of Education, 25 OS Section 307B1, and the employment of a head football coach, high school and middle school assistant principal, 25 OS Section 307B1. I'll entertain a motion to enter executive session.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Dr. Matusi.
Yes.
7:43. All right, as we return to open session, I'll read the minutes here from the executive session. We entered the executive session to discuss the replacement of Christopher Choate on the school board and the hiring of a head high school football coach and assistant high school and middle school principal. Present were board members Luke Lau, Patrick Griffin, David Tillman, and Dr. James Matusick, along with our guest Jason Stoneberger. The only agenda items were discussed, and there were no votes taken. And then we entered open session at 8:32 p.m. 8.2, discussion and possible board action regarding the employment of head football coach, high school, and middle school assistant principal for the 2023-24 school year.
I recommend Mark Cox for that position.
I move to hire Mark Cox.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Dr. Matusi.
Yes.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Item 9.
You better.
Who made the motion? You
He did.
Wholehearted.
and you.
Second was
Okay.
Luke.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Oh, the adjournment, yeah, I seconded the adjournment, sorry.
You did? Okay.
Yes, he did,
That's what I thought, but.
Sorry.
before he read the.
Yeah.